You're listening to another episode of Mr. Allard's Neighborhood. This is the place where you're entitled to Brad's opinion. And now for your host, Brad Allard.
Well, another week, another glorious week in Burleson. My guest today is known to everybody in this area of the state, practically. Victoria Johnson. She's going to tell us what's going on. Particularly, we like to talk about the parks, but we'll just talk about what's going on in the city this summer. Just visit, chit-chat, relax. Politics are done for a while, I hope. And so we'll just visit. And I need to make sure Miss Dina Martin-Hooley is sending me some stuff that'll help our veterans out. So I'm going to make sure I get that taken care of. How are you doing, Taylor?
I'm well, and yourself?
You talked about your allergies. Are you doing all right?
Oh my gosh, this weekend was crazy.
Yeah.
Most intense ab workout in a long time was just sneezing.
Because of the sneezing, I was going to ask.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what's interesting, though, this past weekend, at the Crazy 8 Ministries.
Yeah.
And, last Tuesday, I had Lisa Schwartz and Liz Hargrove on. And the weather was supposed to be really bad. And I asked her at the end of the show, I said, what are you going to do about it if it rains? Well, we'll get wet. But I'm claiming right now, in the name of Jesus, it will not rain. And at the end, I said, well, it's the last word. If you want to use it for a prayer, that's fine with me. And so she had a brief prayer about the event and hoped the weather would hold off. And Friday afternoon, the clouds just split like the Red Sea. And, we were dry all Saturday. And it's like, I said, wow, this gal has pull. I mean, she really, she knows people. and I saw her at the event. I said, I'm taking you to Vegas so you can pray over my cards.
Oh, goodness.
And I know, but it was.
I'm so glad the weather held out.
Yeah.
Gosh, I know the threat of rain, it was like looming over us. And I'm sad I didn't get to make it out Saturday, but I've heard tremendous things.
Oh, it was really
so
nice.
well attended.
Yeah.
Lots of great vendors and information available. We had a big day in the Johnson household. So on Saturday, I had full mom duties.
Well, is that what we were talking about just before the air?
Yes.
Well, tell us about that then.
Yeah, Audrey had her first Holy Communion on Saturday. So we're Catholic, and she was able to receive her communion for the first time, and they get all dressed up and we pray over them. It's just a big joyous occasion. I can still remember mine back in 93.
Was it at St. Anne's also?
It wasn't. It was at St. Mary's of the Assumption off of Magnolia.
Okay.
So it was fun. 81 kids and lots of family. And then we celebrated with cake and all that fun stuff. And so instead, I have this urge to always, I try my hardest to go to every possible community event, activity that I can.
Well, that's a big deal. I bet Lisa will give you a pass.
Sometimes I got to be mom. And so I'd promised Audrey, we couldn't take absolutely everyone to lunch, but we did warm up the pool and let the kids swim. So I said, you can invite all the neighborhood friends, whoever you want, to come swim this afternoon. And so that's what we did. We played in the swimming pool and celebrated her being such a awesome young lady. I'm so proud of her.
Well, sure. It's a big deal.
It was a big deal.
For us heathen Baptists, we have at baptism, it's the same thing. Grandma's there,
Right.
mama's there, dad's there. They all have lunch or something afterwards. And so that's a very common thing. I'm having trouble getting this thing shared with the various groups. I don't know why today, but it'll get there. Anyway, so that was a good thing, though. It was a good event. And also afterwards, I went to an opening of a new business, Old Town Provisions.
Yeah, I want to go shopping
You
there.
need to. Your husband will like it. It's mostly men's-oriented stuff, men's clothing, and accessories, and all kind of a Western theme to it, toiletries and body wash and stuff like that, and had really nice shirts, and that's what I look at. And so Father's Day is coming up. I'm going to have him on the show about mid-June.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to stop in there. And I love new businesses in Old Town and the small businesses. That's what really, they're the heartbeat of our community. And so I can't wait to stop in there. I saw that there were tents and things because they had different vendors and stuff out in the parking lot. Is that?
Yeah.
Very cool.
And they had a barbecue set up. One of my friends from BNI has a barbecue side business, and she was providing barbecue and all that. Well, anyway, I'm going to talk about the paid sponsors now. If I can get this thing, Taylor, you might have to resend that link. I'm not getting it to work the way I need it to. So if you don't mind,
Alrighty.
it's just giving me all these troubles. But anyway, CrossFit Burleson, 317 Southwest Wilshire. Everything is going well for you, I hope, Daniel. go get your workout and all that. This is not your type of workout, though, right?
Well, I'm impressed by it. Sometimes I want to swing in there and be like, let me see what I can do. But
well, yeah, but they have different levels of programs. And it's not like you have to go in there going in for bodybuilding or whatever. If you're just trying to tone up or stay in shape, they got all sorts of programs, and their website will tell you that. And it's always a good thing.
The coolest part is the community. Anyone that I know that works out with CrossFit, it's about like they really support each other and cheer each other on, and they have competitions and things, and their coaches are really invested in the people that work out there. So kudos to them.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to try this again. Let's see if we can get this to work this time. For some reason, it's just not working well today. Anyway, I'll take care of it in a minute.
Nope.
Stogs Deal Group. Okay. Thank you, Shandy. Hope you're doing well. She's helping us with the house deal.
Cool.
Yeah. And she does really good work. She knows a lot about real estate. And now that she's, done with the election, she can focus back on that again. And she got some real connections because, we're, like I said, she's working on a deal for us. And before it even got published, she already had a couple of people that were interested in it. And so that's the kind of thing you need to have happen.
Absolutely. That's the cool part about working with the homegrown realtors. They know lots of people, and so much of it, especially in real estate these days, things move so fast that it's almost helpful to have those insights so that you're like, okay, this is coming, or this is going to be fresh on the market, come look at it, or maybe before it ever even hits. It's very helpful to have knowledgeable people. So.
It definitely does. And she's been here a long time too. So, finally, here it is. Sorry, Shandy, I'm taking care of this during your time, but you'll forgive me, I'm sure. Trying to get this to share with various groups.
I was trying to share too, and then I could hear Taylor's opening in the background, so then I decided to stop touching it.
Yeah, it's just, you never know what these people at Facebook, I said something mean about Zuckerberg, and look what he done. Our place, I was just there this morning. I was meeting a young man in our BNI networking group, and it's great as always, and that place is, I walked in today and it was like half full, and I said, this is about the least I've seen it. When I walked out, it was almost all full. Yeah. I mean, I hardly ever see that place. You don't have to wait all the time, but it's constant business.
It is. They turn over tables quick. That was my Mother's Day treat yesterday. My family took us to.
So even if you see a line there, you're going to get moved in real quick.
It looked a little scary. Philip told me to get out of the truck, and I went and put our name on the list, and it moved so fast. They were like, 20 minutes, if that. And sure enough, we got our table quickly. And
I've never had to wait more than 10 minutes, but that's people, it reminds me of that Yogi Berra saying, so, people don't go there, it's too crowded. And, it's an old joke about a restaurant in New York, but, what I like about the place is that they do take care of their customers.
They do. They're so friendly, and the food comes out fresh and amazing. And I cannot get over whatever day is the vegetable soup day, I have to. I know Otto keeps saying, it's such and such day. I can't remember. It's Thursday or Friday, but it is dreamy. And all it is just like straight vegetables, and it is so good.
I've had that in the taco soup.
I did not have vegetables yesterday. I had lots of things with syrup, and
there you go.
Audrey likes to get the Minnie Mouse pancake because it comes with sprinkles and whipped cream. And then when we leave, she says, "Can we get pie?" I'm like, "You basically just had pie.
Yeah.
You had all the contents of one on your plate. I think we're good."
No, it really is. I do all my BNI networking groups there, my meetings there, and if I'm meeting with a potential sponsor or a current sponsor, I'll meet there because it's just comfortable place to do business.
It is, and the food's amazing.
And another good place to do business is our place at Wild Cigar and Culture. It's got a conference room for business, and it's a good place because it's quiet. As old men, I don't want to go and have 15 TVs yelling at me.
Yeah,
and I'm not interested in a big lot of racket and all this other stuff. You go there, you can have a cigar if you like, or a drink if you like, and you can. Hear yourself think and have a conversation without having to shout and all this other stuff. So I always enjoy that quite a bit. So thank you, Chris.
And it's so well done. It's just so sharp looking in there. I love having new and different places to go in Burleson.
I would say it's the nicest bar in town.
It's pretty nice.
And so he has drink specials on Mondays and Wednesdays and Fridays, so you can check those out.
Oh,
also,
right.
Tiffany Nico, everybody knows Tiffany. I saw her picture. She was in some sort of Dallas social event, and she was posting pictures. She was in a red gown and looking very pretty and all that.
I saw that too. She was very pretty.
And she does really good work. She works with the city a lot too.
A lot.
Is she going to be doing stuff for July 4th, I wonder?
Oh, I bet she is.
Yeah.
That it's such a neat opportunity for the I think she partners with that development
the Windmiller Building and
Windmiller Building,
right.
and so it just works so well that it's next door to Chisenhall Fields, and people can enjoy music and activities and vendors where she is, and then walk over to the fields, or even just set up your chairs and watch the fireworks from there.
Yeah, and I did that 2 years ago. Last year I had a family thing on that day, but it's nice, and you got. We got a lot of these things going on, and I think that's a good sign.
Absolutely. That's community, that sense of community and things to do. We're always looking, especially families, but in all age groups. You want entertainment, you want music, you want food, you want just something to do on the weekends, especially when the weather's nice and you want to be outside. Kudos to all of the creative people in our community that are creating these fun events.
Yes, and we do have a lot of people doing a lot of good work, and I get here in this podcast, I get the pleasure and the honor of talking about them with their various people. I'm really in a very fortunate situation because I get exposed to so much more than I would have if I wouldn't be doing this.
Right. And you expose the rest of us, so thank you.
Let's hope so. Anyway, also Gala at Southern Gym, they are going to be downstairs by Memorial Day, by golly.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I've been wondering
It's always, last minute delay, contractor issues.
It's just the construction world these days.
Yes, right. This piece didn't get here until 2 or 3 days later. And, I see Gail every Wednesday. Of course, Robin works for her. And so, I kind of keep up with it. And they're going to have a big deal.
I can't wait.
And I always talk about you take Philip there and he can park him on this bullpen kind of place to watch TV and have a drink or whatnot. Dr. Pepper, wine, whatever.
While I make my wish list.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's smart. When I go with Robin to antique malls, I can handle it for a little while, but I get bored a lot quicker than she does. For her, it's great, but they don't have a place to put the husbands, and all these places seem to be miles away from restaurant or bar to watch the ball game in. So Gail's going to take care of that for you.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's creative.
Yes.
Instead of having your partner going, okay, can we go yet? Can we go yet? Yeah. You can be distracted while the Mrs. or your partner is still shopping away.
Well, you can go to Wild or American Revelry or whatever. So it's going to be a good place. Also, thank you to First Do Detailing. This is a new one since you've been here. He comes out to your place and does the detailing, power wash, the whole thing. On site. He's doing Gayla's car this week, and he's going to do mine and my wife's car within a couple of weeks. So we got to get it scheduled, but we'll figure out a time. But that way you don't have to go and put it somewhere, take it somewhere, and then get a ride home or whatever else. He'll come to you where you're working, and while you're doing your job or while you're at the house, he'll do it right there. And so you don't have to, make all these arrangements to go take it somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I saw his equipment, and it's
That's cool.
He's got it all there in his trailer, and it's all good to go.
We have become so accustomed to the concierge service nowadays in every world, right? In medical, in dog grooming. Come clean my car. It's got sticky goo in the back seat, thanks to little ones.
Well, if you want to get a hold of Caleb, it's 817-776-0478. That is 817-776-0478. And he also on firstdodetailing.com has a link there that you can schedule a time, so you're good to go. Also, our newest one, Old Pro Roofing. John Williams is their local agent, 817-734-2756. Everybody knows Old Pro. It's in downtown, Old Town. What was that building before Old Pro had it?
I have no idea. I wonder that when I drive by on the regular.
It does look like a residence. It looks like, it has a big old drive-through and all this. I wonder if it's like is it a funeral home? I don't know. But
I wonder if it was.
One day, maybe it was. Maybe somebody will tell us. 817-734-2756. We may have been spared the weather because of Lisa's prayers, but
you can still get that roof checked.
You need to check because another one of my sponsors as an insurance agent, they absolutely do it. And I think the next one is my agent is Texas Farm Bureau, Melissa Harmon, 682-804-0534. That's 682-804-0534. And what I like about Texas Farm Bureau, I've had people sitting in your seat that are Farm Bureau customers, and they just rave about it. I think it's really great. And so does John from Old Pro. They do with a lot of insurance companies, and they're not all built the same. Some are looking every which way they can to keep your dollar, but Texas Farm Bureau has the best reputation for taking care of their clients. Also, this Thursday, I'll be talking to Lisa Smith and probably her husband Morris about Stop Restoration. They do cleanups after water damage and whatever else. And I thought, we're talking about like bad weather, which is part of it, but actually it's the kind of water damage you don't even know about, like your hot water heater leaking or your washing machine leaking, and you don't notice it until it's done all this damage and it causes all this mold. And so they do mold removal, and that's just not something that is easily found because you have to go through a lot of certifications and environmental protections and all this other stuff. It isn't like, just call somebody out of the phone book. You need to call Stop Restoration. So Lisa will be here Thursday, and she's a live wire. I mean, she's very, very enthusiastic, and she and her husband both are just genuinely good people. Oh. I really enjoy their company, so it'll be a good show. Taylor, I think we had something about the American Legion, did we not? Yes. Here it is. The American Legion is going to have a garage sale over at the gun shop, that Chisholm gun shop that's over on the same parking lot area as Antonio's and near urgent care, one of those medical clinics. And they're going to be having this garage sale in order to help pay for some of the programs they have. Say it right, dummy. Some of the programs they have. Plus, they're also going to be putting out flags on the veterans at the graveyard. And so that's a big deal.
I love that.
Yeah, it isn't. That's a great thing. My dad's a veteran and all that. He wants to be buried over at that National Cemetery over by Dallas Baptist.
So pretty, right?
Yeah. And so basically, check this out. She sent me some material. I'm going to look it over again, get to it here. Basically, this American Legion's going to be having this garage sale about 9:00 next Saturday, the 20th, and it has all sorts of stuff. She says embroidery items and kitchen items and handmade stuff, and a lot of stuff like that. The American Legion doesn't have its own building. They meet at Boulevard Baptist Church the second Thursday of the month at Boulevard Baptist, but they're going to try to raise this money for their other programs and for this flag waving thing. They're putting the flags on the veterans. That's a very nice thing.
It is. Yeah. It just looks so respectful, and it's just a nice tribute to them.
It is. And so I'll be talking about this tomorrow and Thursday. So check it out. Check out Dina Hooley, her page. Dina Hooley's page will help you with that. And all the other details. And I'll be talking about it again the next couple of days. Also, Walk for Life is coming up on June 3rd. With the Next Step Women's Center. We're just busy.
We're busy. It's that time of year where all the stuff, we got our feet on the ground. I think this last Saturday also, unfortunately, we had to miss was the Got Your Six 5K that the volunteers for the Burleson Police Department, the Citizens on Patrol, they put together a fundraising 5K and 1 mile fun walk. And I know that I unfortunately had to miss, but our family was a sponsor of that. And so lots of cool things going on that,
of course, Gabrina wants you to know about the Honey Fest coming up on the weekend. Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, it's more than just the bike race like it had been before. They're going to have like carnival rides.
Carnival, and it's going to be in Old Town, and there's going to be music and activity. We're kicking off Hot Sounds of Summers that weekend. It's going to be so fun. So that's the weekend of the 26th. I've got it marked down because lots of cool activities. We're even going to have a Ferris wheel.
A Ferris wheel?
In Old Town.
All right. Well, I got a big day that weekend, too. The 28th is my anniversary. Oh. Let's see how many years it's been. Oh, it's 35. Yeah. People say, how long have you been married? Oh, 30 years. 30 wonderful years and 5 that kind of stunk. No, it's 35 years, and it's been a good run. She's still the same girl I married 35 years ago, and I'm blessed.
You do have a good wife.
But all the stuff that's going on, you could pretty much spend all your time here. Don't have to go to Fort Worth for anything, do you?
No, we've got it here in Burleson. I'm really excited that we're bringing back the Honey Bag Tour. I've been a longtime volunteer with Rotary Club. We would sit out and direct traffic. You're the pointers and say, go right so that you stay on the correct path. And they've always done a great job of marking it. My father-in-law, my husband's dad, he's a bike rider, and he was really looking forward to it coming back as well. So it's popular. Bike riders come from all over.
Oh, they take it seriously. My dad did that Wichita Falls race for years, hotter than hell.
Hotter than hell.
Yeah. I mean, for 20 plus years now. Now he's not really in the same physical shape. He's almost 85 now. But for years, You know, I would go up there. You talk about a red, white, and blue event. I mean, they really did it right because they'd line up on the other side of this bridge in downtown Wichita Falls, and they'd have like national anthem, Pledge of Allegiance. They have a flyover from the local Air Force base. I mean, my gosh, and almost 2/3 of them were dressed in either Texas or U.S. themed jerseys. It was greatness.
How fun.
Yeah, and it is a community. They traveling. It's like Grateful Dead concerts. You know, people used to travel all over the world traveling around with them. Well, that's kind of like what
bikers do.
Yeah. Oh,
yes, the cyclists. They go. They have their groups that they follow on social media, and they meet each other at these big bike rides. And so I'm really glad for our community. This is a great opportunity to really showcase what Burleson has to offer. And the best part is we all come together to make this a success. You know, for years, like I said, I would be out there directing traffic with the Rotary Club. The Lions Club is out. I mean, it takes hundreds of volunteers.
Yes,
so I'm going to make a plug for the chamber and say, if you are available, you know, that Saturday morning to help bikers stay on the route or to man a water station. Rotary also would do a station of, you know, we'd have bananas and granola bars and water bottles and Gatorades and all of that stuff to keep people, you know, hydrated and healthy. We would, I know some volunteers do the first aid truck that, you know, drives along to make sure no one has any wipeouts. So it takes a lot of the community to put this together, and it's a huge home run for our community. So please volunteer if you have the time, or come out and support all the vendors and activities that will be going on in Old Town for the carnival piece. It's going to be a fun weekend, and this is what, you know, that hometown feel is all about.
Well, some of these teams come together, you know, they're amateurs. I mean, there is a professional circuit, but that's most of the people in Wichita Falls were, you know, amateurs, like my dad, but they all came from Corsicana, and they all had the same shirts. And, you know, Corsicana is home with the Collins Street Bakery and their famous fruitcakes, right? Ooh. So they sponsored my dad's team of about 6, and they had the Corsicana Fruitcakes as their title or their team name.
Cute.
You know, you see stuff like that all over.
Someone, Ashley, well, she was Ashley Howard. Now I think she's Whitehead. Her family, they're big cyclists, and they have all matching jerseys. They're a part of some team. Yeah. I always see her photos on social media. Her dad still cycles, and
it'd be Marion Howard.
Yes,
yes, I remember him from the pizza joint he used to own.
Yes, oh yeah, that was good pizza.
Yeah, it was. It sure was.
But that's cool. You know, they have their little, just like you said. I used to be a runner, and I put on a number of 5 and 10Ks and all of that fun stuff. But similarly, like, it's great. It's camaraderie when you have a group that you go do that activity with, and you cheer each other on, and you push each other and challenge each other in a good way.
Well, Wichita Falls makes a lot of money from it, so I'm hoping we do the same.
Let's go, Burleson.
Yeah, because they come in and you know, stay in the hotels and eat at the restaurants
and shop
and all this other stuff.
Yep.
And so it's I hope it works that way for us.
I think it will. You know, people are excited that it's coming back. I think it's going to be big.
But if you're going to stay overnight, guys, stay in a Burleson hotel. Nobody's Fort Worth.
We've got Jellystone. What else do we have?
That's what my dad would do. He'd bring his RV, and my son and I, when he's a lot smaller, we'd go stay with him overnight.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. So Jellystone, you got, we do some decent hotels.
We do have a couple right there at East Renfro, or close to East Renfro. There's like a little cluster of them. Stay local, spend local.
Yeah.
Keep all of our little businesses thriving.
Well, you know, it sounds like Burleson's got a lot going on, but as far as the city itself, anything big planned for this summer? Any big city-related things going on?
I'm glad you asked.
That's what I thought you might want to talk about that.
I'm pulling up my calendar here. We've got some big things coming up. You know, this coming Saturday on the 20th is Super Safety Saturday.
Super Safety Saturday. Can't say that too fast.
I know. The fire department partners with Texas Health Burleson, and they have it there. It's Lakewood and 174. It's in their big parking lot. They have family-friendly safety event. They talk about pool and sun safety, home safety, bike safety, fire safety, and much more. I know the police department will be out. The fire department will be out. Lots of resources and information. They give out helmets. You know, we're really doing a push in the community to wear those helmets. For Audrey's birthday, she got one of the hoverboard carts. So it comes with a seat. It's almost like a go-kart, except it sits on the hoverboard. And she got a new helmet, and she's super pumped about that. But all of these cool scooters and bikes and things that our families are doing. Make sure that you're wearing helmets and you're protecting yourself in the event of an accident or something, a wipeout, blowout. But there will be fire trucks, an ambulance, all kinds of cool things. I think even CareFlight might bring out their helicopters.
Oh, that's always fun.
I know. Lots of cool information coming out this Saturday, and I think it's from 9 to noon, so enjoy that opportunity. I love these events. We give away lots of information, but we give away goodies too, and who doesn't love free stuff? Also, this coming weekend is the Texas Heritage Festival, and it's at Russell Farm. And
it's a great place, isn't it?
I love Russell Farm. I've kind of come full circle. I was working for the city when the Boren family approached the city about taking that over. And so I got to take all the sitting council people out there to tour it and give them all the information. And then they inevitably accepted that donation of land from that family and we've done great things with it. It's a great space. We do art and teach kids all kinds of things from farming to art, painting and sculpturing. We just did our Earth Day celebration out there. Families were given seeds. My kids learned about all kinds of reptiles because we had a really cool creature teacher out there, and children's handed out basil seedlings and things. It was so much information, so many cool things that can happen out at Russell Farm. So
I remember doing that with my kids when they were at Holy Cross for fifth or second grade, kindergarten, stuff like that. And they had field trips out there and had somebody would show them, the house and the barn and this and that and the other. And it's just, I thought, man, I'd like to live here.
You can go out there anytime and just take a picnic. You can check out the donkeys. Quite often there's new baby chicks.
See, I did not know that. You really could just go out there. I figured it was just for events. I didn't know it was like.
It's open.
So I just go over there with my sack lunch if I wanted to.
You can. I've done that with my kids. Sometimes they need to just expel energy, and I'm like, let's go run at the farm.
Yeah.
They love to walk through the community garden part, and a lot of people don't know, but you can, I think it's like $25. You can lease a garden spot and grow whatever you want out there. Some of it gets donated, but a lot of families just, they don't have the space in their own backyard, or if they even have a yard, so they lease a plot, and then you can grow things, and you go pick it and water it and prune it. My kids love to see what's growing out there.
We always thought it'd be neat to have a community garden. Back in the old days of our history, a lot of small towns had a community space for that, for a commons area that for not just grazing and such, but also for growing. And for those kind of families that didn't have land of their own, I always thought that'd be great for Burleson to have something like that. And I know Pathway has something similar to that, but it'd be a great place for people also, not just to want to grow their own vegetables, but grow them for other people. Just, hey, come get them.
It's just fun to share those things. We have a garden in our backyard, and this year we limited what we're growing because last year we had 3 or 4 pepper plants, and I was giving them to everyone I know, but that's kind of fun. I'm like, hello, I grew this broccoli head. Would you like it?
Well, my father-in-law before, he's 85 also, and so he's not quite as physically able as he used to be, but he has some space in North Carolina. There's about 20 acres out there, and he would have a huge garden, and he basically has scientists come and get it,
That's awesome.
They'd have enough for themselves all year long, but more than they needed. So people would come on, all right, I need, a couple of bell peppers, or I need some tomatoes, or I need a batch of green beans or whatever, and they just come and get them. And I thought, that's a pretty cool thing.
And it tastes different. I even, we started composting last year, and it is very general. I just throw in all the tops to my strawberries and tear up egg crates and things when we're done, and we turn it over and we keep it watered. It's pretty minimal, and we spread that into our garden this year when we were planting. It has overwhelmingly been a success. My plants are huge, so it's been a lot of fun.
Well, since you're the driving force on the city council. All right.
I don't know about that.
You wouldn't say that? Okay.
No. I won't take that much credit, but I will say I enjoy the work. And when I'm passionate about something.
Right. And parks is your thing.
Parks is my thing.
Is it possible we could have something like what we're talking about?
No, I think there's all kinds of potential with Russell Farm. We've got a lot of land. Something that I would we've been kind of exploring here and there is how to do something compost related, and then people can bring out their food scraps and take away. When we used to have a mulch where the dog park now is. There used to be mulch, and you could just come take however much you needed.
I remember doing that.
And so I think there's a lot of potential. It's just being organized, and it's so much education because you can't have cooked food. And, there's just so many, like, as simple as it may seem, sometimes it just gets hairy in the details,
Well,
and we don't want people offloading trash on us. So it's just, it's about, it's rollouts. And so I study a lot. I go visit, I have a friend that works for the UNT Health Science Center. They also have like a community health, and they have a garden, and they produce all types of educational materials on what you can compost and stuff like that. So I'm trying to collect information. It's just a matter of, there's so many, we could do so many things, but you only want to do what you can really do well. You don't want to extend your resources beyond being able to.
I want to loop back around to something. It's kind of teasing you about being the driving force, but we all know this is a team effort.
It is. Yeah.
You think the council would back anybody that comes with this? Because I know
think if we really have our ducks in a row, with anything that you bring to council, if it's you wanting to change your zoning, or you're wanting to bring a new development or a new idea to town, it's about having all your stuff lined out so that you've thought through any questions that can be asked, and you have the answers to them, right? And you just have to be prepared. And so,
you being your first term, you've learned that it is a team game, isn't it?
It is.
And you have to get along with people and the people's ideas sometimes, and knock heads together. But it is a team game.
But that's for the benefit of the community.
Right. And I've learned this myself too. I thought it was driven sometimes, but it isn't. That's not possible under a system to have one person drive it.
You have to have four. A former city manager, one that I worked under, he had a sign on his desk that said 4 is greater than 3. So you at least have to have 4 people that are on board with whatever your idea is. And I try not. There's definitely things that I'm passionate about, and I try not to bring anything forward that I really haven't vetted myself. Is this, if it's something I'm going to put forward to my colleagues, I want to make sure I've raked it over and thought through any questions they might have. And we're only as good as, our minds combined. Pat Worrell always says of the Character Council, like, individually, we're smart, but together we're brilliant. So, it takes everyone. And there's 7 of us that have different perspectives, different backgrounds, different things that we can all bring to the table. It's about having respect and at least hearing out the other person. And even if you debate, it's for the benefit of the whole community. And that's what we're all there for. Like, let's have a genuine, hash something out policy-wise, and then walk away and still be able to shake hands and have a beer or whatever it may be. Your kids can all play together in the front yard.
Well, it's sometimes, I'm sure it's tough, but it has to be done.
Well,
I've heard this from school boards. I mean, that's the school board I have probably more long-term relationships with, and they say the same thing. And sometimes those executive sessions can be pretty heated, but they all put that aside by the end of the meeting because they have to, and they do. And I don't. That might be, to me, if I were in one of those type of situations, it'd be the hardest thing for me. I might be mad for 2-3 days, that
Do
kind
you
of
hold
stuff.
grudges?
Do I? No, not really. But I would still, I'd still be irritated, till Wednesday. That don't they realize how smart I am, and why aren't they listening to me more, and that kind of thing. But
there's definitely some evenings that I come home from a council meeting and I'm wound up, and Philip's just like, "Oh, great, okay, go ahead, let me have it." And I'm like, I get frustrated, or I think I thought this one through, but maybe I didn't. And I mean, I think any of us, it's just that human nature of like, well, why isn't it going my way? But
yeah, but it's a good thing that we have the system we do.
We do.
You look at the situations you have up in the Northeast with, their mayor in Chicago and all the crap she pulled, and the guy that they elected is going to be even worse, or the New York mayor, and on and on and on. I would not want to live in a situation where all that
one person's making all the decisions.
Right, it's concentrated like that.
No.
I'm glad we have the system we do in Texas. Now, could that change? Yeah, I would change the charter, but I doubt there's any drive. There's no strong push to change the charter, is there? I've not heard of one.
I sure hope not.
Well, I haven't heard of one, and I don't know if I'd be the first one to hear about it, but I probably would have heard about it by now. But speaking of community involvement, though, we're talking about parks and whatever else, and I've been bringing this up with the other members of the city government about what's going on at the softball fields and such. Has there been any movement on that?
Not right now. I know the last time I visited with you, we talked about that. And in order for anything to happen with the current softball fields, we'll have to take it to the voters because it is dedicated parkland. And so the community as a whole will have to determine if it can become anything else. But we can't take that to voters unless we truly have a plan for where those are going. Because
I thought we had softball fields or land purchased.
So we do have land,
right? And
the city does own land, which will be more will be considered the center of town, off of Allsbury, and if you go down Allsbury heading toward 1020, the second roundabout, that's the land that we've purchased, but we haven't for sure said what it is going to be. What it can be is a bunch of different things. And so we've got the opportunity to think big and plan for the future. And so, yes, there is space to relocate those softball fields should the citizens agree that our plan for that is what they're on board with.
But this plan's been around for a long time, right?
We've kicked it around. Those softball fields, I hate that they're not... they don't have a sprinkler system. They have not over the years been well cared for. I mean, it's a little bit better because we've addressed it, but somewhat to the extent that we can. But without watering, has very little grass. It's basically a dirt hole. There's cracks that you can almost see to the other side of Earth through.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I played on those fields many years, and I tell you what, you go and makes you think twice before you lay out for a line drive or fly ball.
Yeah. You miss some skin.
Yeah. Do I want to get scuffed up for a church league softball game? Right. But am I sliding this second? No, I'll just take the out.
Exactly. It's a popular sport. A lot of people in our community enjoy playing it, and I'm passionate about parks because it gets people outside, and that's benefits so many things: our emotional well-being, our social well-being, our physical health, and so I want us to do right by those individuals who enjoy those sports. And so I would love to relocate them and have it in a facility that's better maintained, well maintained, that we stay on top of. But I don't want to just see us have new softball fields. We are currently undergoing like a field and recreational inventory. What do we have? What could we have more of based on our population? And what exists surrounding? Maybe it's already in Crowley, maybe it's already in Cleburne. In certain driving distance, what else is surrounding and what's doing well? What do we need here in Burleson? So I know I hear this a lot: pickleball courts. And,
really? How about that?
And as big as our community is, we only have those 2 basketball courts at Warren Park that are always being played on.
Exactly.
So I think that there's a number of fields and opportunities for us to, have. I say a community park because it could be a bigger park that addresses some of those needs and areas that our community is looking for us to have. And then in addition to, maybe next door is a new library. That would be my goal. Or maybe it's, to me, where City Hall is currently located, we're busting at the seams, but that's just not a good use of that real estate, in my opinion. I think that it could be so many other things besides City Hall.
What if you move City Hall? What are you going to do with the Vera Plaza?
Well, the plaza would stay there, but maybe that building becomes a community arts center. Maybe it becomes...
So it stays city-owned, is what you're saying?
Yeah, it could. Okay. There's so many things that we can do with what we have.
But that old police station on...
That's going to be raised. We're taking that down.
Okay. Is that right?
Yes.
You're talking about the one on Johnson and
it was a post office long before it was a police station, and we squeezed the police station in it, and then we finally realized that building is falling apart. We've currently housed engineering out of that building and human resources, but that building will be raised. And there will be a bigger parking lot. Hooray for parking in Old Town. So we'll have a new parking lot that will go there. And then there will still be some type of buildings or things that either get leased out. They could be boutiques. They could be office spaces. We're still in the talks about what that may be. And if the city will even, we might just... after it's built, turn it over and see what happens in the private market with it. But for sure, we're getting a larger parking lot, and that building will be removed because it is in terrible condition. It's just old and.
I've only been in it once, not for being.
You weren't in jail
overnight.
there, were you?
No, I was. I don't know. I had to drop something off there for some reason, and but it was like 20 years ago.
Exactly. It's not a good building. It's been taped and super glued back together, and there's parts of it that smell funny and terrible ventilation and no AC. I don't know. It needs to be replaced, and we can do something else.
Blow it up.
That is a wonderful piece of property at the corner of Johnson and East Renfro, and so we've got a lot of opportunity there. But
there's a couple other pieces of property on that land. We talked about this last time about where Hill College was, and all that, and now
that's getting raised.
Yes,
you see the fences around it, so it will soon be gone. And then
that'd be kind of sad in a way, though, because it was there when as a church.
Sure.
When I moved here in 91, and, of course, I spent 20 years teaching in that, so it'll be a little nostalgic, but it has to go.
It's terrible. That's another one of those buildings that's just,
who did?
My parents.
Your parents got married in that church?
Cool.
Yeah. Well, how about that? I've been to a couple of weddings there, too. And so is your mom and dad going to be protesting with signs?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, the parking lot is torrential. It's terrible. You walk across it and you can twist an ankle or trip and fall through to another country. That's another. It's a city-owned facility, and it had its uses. But the cool thing is we connected with First United Methodist to preserve any stained glass or anything that they wanted to from that building. So it's not going to that some of those pieces that hold memories will get to move to the United Methodist Church on McAllister, and so I think we're doing it right. But once it's raised, we'll get to it's a little over an acre, so it's not. It's not a lot of space, but there's tons of potential. We would love to see more corporate offices and good employment opportunities for citizens in Burleson. Maybe it's also a restaurant space. Maybe it becomes boutiques. Who knows? And then in addition to, we talked about this before, but some kind of gathering space of if you can sit out and have coffee and have some, who knows what can happen? Who knows what the private market's going to do?
I don't know what, off the top of my head, what we're, as a community, what kind of, retail or kind of business that we're lacking, or kind of a food service that we're lacking. But I'm sure people investigate that quite a bit.
Yeah.
I hope that it turns into something like you envision, as opposed to just some utilitarian building. We want something that has a little style or class, because it's, Renfro and Wilshire, the two enjoys to outside world for our community.
Right.
And you want to impress them.
Yes.
And
I think that there's, like you said, I don't know either. I'm not in the, there's people that, invest and look for those opportunities. They know, what a community, what can really do well in a community like ours. We're growing. We're 51,000. We're going to really boom even more so in the next few years. We have Chisholm Summit development coming in that's over 3,000 rooftops.
Right.
And potentially another development nearby closely aligned with that could be an additional 3,000 rooftops. So people are coming to Burleson because of what we have to offer, but we keep that small town feel those community events that people love to attend. And so I think that there's a lot of potential. Like you said, I don't want to just see like a 3-story office building, no interaction. It's in the Old Town overlay. And I personally want to see that extension of Old Town go over those railroad tracks and continue. Walkability is a big piece of that. Having places to stroll and shop and eat and listen to music maybe, or, do things like that with your family. We need that outdoor space. We need that outdoor time. And so I'm really optimistic about the types of businesses that we can recruit to fill it.
Of course, being in the position you are, you get some heads up as to what's going on, and maybe the history of what has happened before. There's one space that I'd never have gotten my head wrapped around, and it's right across from Hill College. They had this really nice little house, and then you have like this dormitory-looking thing. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
But it's I don't know, it's a street. It's on it directly. It's on the corner, and are those two properties connected? Or, I never see anything going. What goes on in that building? It's a big white brick building, and I never see anybody or any activity in it. What goes on there?
I think it's part of I'm trying to think, what is the official name? Something, is it
It's
our Heritage Foundation?
Yeah, it's like the Baker House.
Is that Baker House?
Yeah, the Baker House.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, so you have the nice little Baker House, and you got these hours, you can see it. And then you got this dormitory or a prison looking thing.
I know,
and
I'm not really sure.
Maybe 2 feet from the house itself.
Yes.
I mean, hardly any space for you to shimmy through if you wanted to. What was the purpose of that building, and what does it do now?
Yeah,
I
don't
never.
actually know.
It's like a mystery to me.
Well, I may have to go pick some brains in economic development. And ask what
Alex
going
knows
on over
everything.
there.
I'm sure.
Mr. Burleson.
Yeah, but I thought there has to be a story to that because, I taught at that Hill College for 20 years, and I never saw a soul in that whole complex. I didn't even see lights on.
One time, years and years ago, I did attend some group meeting there. And I thought, man, I'd really like to. I was only able to go into the front room. And so I'm looking around, trying to absorb, what do they do in here? What goes on here? And I don't even remember what organization it was that met there. I know, I want to say Eumathian, but it wasn't. It was something. But anyway, I agree. I'm going to have to pick some brains and ask what's going on there. Are there any future plans? But it's a great location.
Well, it could be. I don't know. I don't know if it's ever going to be changed, but I thought, wow, it's just kind of.
I think it will. I think inevitably, especially if we're able to jumpstart some of this new development, revitalization of that side of Old Town, with the development that happens where the church / Hill College is currently, that can really spur people to step up their game and say, hey, this property is worth more than what it is currently, and let's do something with it.
Well,
let's have a coffee shop.
Right.
Let's do something, have, cute townhomes or something that people want to have pride in living in.
Well, I'd like to see mixed use, lofts and such, but that's, and I don't take this wrong, Burleson, and I wish these people well, but I'm still kind of wondering, how does that Jamaican place maintain? Because it doesn't seem busy, but it's right in prime time property. I wonder, what the story is behind that. It's been there for different incarnations.
They have a lot of takeout food because I know so many people that rave about their food.
I've heard it's really good. I'm just saying how, the property value must be very difficult to deal with.
To maintain.
Yeah, because it's got to be blowing up. But I've heard a lot of good things about the Jamaican place. A couple of people in our Sunday school class have gone there and had takeout, and they said it's really, really good.
And it's a family. They're so kind. And I'm pretty sure
I hope that
they have some kids that go to our school too.
Well, I hope that whatever happens, they can maintain their business here.
Agree.
Because we need those kind of businesses. Like I was mentioning about Old Town Provisions and these others, we need that.
Right.
And there's other spots I think, it'd be interesting for that, but I don't have the kind of wallet that Rocky Bransom does to kind of develop these things or these other guys have. But I see a lot of potential still.
I'm just hoping for some kind of bookstore, coffee shop. That would be my dream.
Well, that would be my dream too. I
promise I'll work there. If somebody wants to put it in, I'll,
one time
I'll do a shift or two a week just so I can smell books and smell coffee.
I had a conversation with Camille Branson about 2 months ago, and she asked me what I do, and that's exactly what I said I'd do. There was a place in Dallas that I still get teary-eyed when I think about its demise because the owner sold and he's long since gone. But it was over in Dallas called the History Merchant. And you walk in there, and for a book lover, it was all nonfiction mostly. Yeah, it was all nonfiction. First edition, so some really expensive books, but also the latest editions of biographies, histories, political science, whatever. Beautiful old home in Maple Avenue area of Dallas, that McKinney Avenue.
Pretty.
Yeah, and it's all done with this interior, and you walk in, they're playing, classical music, and here they give you, a plastic cup of white wine, and you walk around thinking you're a little smart, and beautiful
what
books.
Bookstore is this?
Yeah, it was fantastic, and also had a lot of history-related accessories like busts and photographs or paintings. Had one painting had the 4 signers of the Versailles Treaty. That would set you back about $25,000, and just stuff like that. And I'm like, this guy.
So it doesn't exist anymore?
No, the guy was already in his late 70s when I first met him, and he sold out about 15 years ago, and it's gone now.
Ooh.
And I tell you, also, it's very difficult with online.
It is. There's something about holding a book, flipping through a book. Have you ever been to Monkey and Dog off of
No.
it's off of Camp Bowie. It kind of sits back on one of those little shopping strips, but it is a cool bookstore, and they have comfy seating, and they have, a tiny kids area. The coolest part is they have wish lists. So you can go in and like make your birthday list, or, just your wish list, so that anyone shopping for something coming up knows to go grab your list and buy from that. A number of my friends, they take their kids up there to make, ongoing lists, so that for birthdays and stuff like celebrations, we know what to get them. But I love to just, it's so cute.
I'd love to see that in Burleson.
And they will literally order any book that you're interested in. You're like, oh, you don't have this. Well, they're like, well, let us order it. And we'll
I'd love it. There's when I go with the antique malls with my wife, and there's some antique malls that are better than others about their books. You get some, then they just throw books on the shelf, and and it's kind of a mess. But the one that's the best for book buyers, if you're looking for that, is the one on Montgomery and 30. They have a couple of vendors there that actually know what they got and had to take care of it appropriately, instead of just, I'm throwing in, this Churchill biography next to a cookbook, next to a self-help book, next to, whatever, John Grisham novel or something, but this one is a lot more...
organized?
So
intentional?
Yes, and they also have some that are pretty nice additions, but most antique stores don't know what they have, and they say, I want $20 for a book that I could get somewhere a lot cheaper somewhere else. Yeah. But anyway, I'd love that myself. That would be my life's ambition, if I could recreate that history merchant experience. But
I think that
Amazon kind of took care of a lot of that.
But here's where, you can't get it in online, is those recommendations, hey, have you heard about this book? Yes, somewhat. Amazon sort of picks it up. And I'm a Kindle junkie. Like I have hundreds of books on my Kindle. And I appreciate when it sends me a recommendation, but there's something very different, especially right now. I'm struggling with Audrey's getting into chapter books, but she still wants some pictures and finding, cute storylines that are just different and grab her attention. She loves things about animals or detective stuff. And so I went into Monkey and Dog, and I'm like, I'm aware of this particular, series, but I'm flipping around. I'm like, a lady that works there comes up and she's like, oh, well, have you heard of such and such series? No, never heard of that before. And so I walked away with 2 books that I would have never known about had I not had that one-on-one contact with someone who said, like, your kid's interested in XYZ. Let me show you some books that might be of interest. And so...
Do they have adult books, though?
They do. They have all kinds of books. Okay. It is a really neat store.
There's a bookstore in downtown McKinney that's like that.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I follow a mom blogger who lives in McKinney, and she's talked about it.
I tell you what, you take the Old Town Burleson group over there. McKinney's doing it the right way.
I know.
Now, we're moving that direction.
We are. It's about taking care of and preserving what we have and finding what fits. I'm very protective of Old Town, and I want it to grow, but you have to grow in the right way, and what fits and how do you preserve that small feel, that Old Town feel? We have a treasure in Old Town. Not everyone preserved theirs like we have, or they're square. You look at Cleburne and it's
sad.
It is.
It's sad. McKinney was like that when I grew up in Plano, and you didn't go to McKinney for nothing, just to get your driver's license. Oh, it was awful.
And now look at it.
Yeah, now...
I'm envious of their downtown area.
And I have a friend that lives literally 5 minutes walking distance from there. So when I go visit him every 6-7 weeks, I'll park at his house, and we'll go downtown.
That's kind of my retirement dream. That late in life, Philip and I will live in something cute in Old Town and get to walk everywhere. And
it's getting there. No, it's vastly improved in the last 15 years.
It has.
And I think it's still going to go in the right direction. And I think the fact that you get people like Old Town Provisions willing to take the risk, because retail is a risk. They must see something in this community that think that they're going to make this work.
Well, personally, I think boutiques and those type of shopping experiences are what people are looking for now. I cannot stand to go to a big store and flip through racks. This dress came from Pink Chandelier. I try my hardest to shop locally because it's so much more of an enjoyable experience. The people that work there, and they go, hey, your favorite brand of shirt came in, and have you seen this one? And this is lightweight, and this is the type of material that you like. That is what keeps people shopping local, are those personal interactions.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm proud of them, like you said, for taking that risk. I'm so excited to shop there because I hate shopping in big box stores.
I avoid them if I can.
I do too.
Only time I go to Dillard's is around Labor Day to get shirts like these, 2/3 off.
Yes, that's my father-in-law too. He's like, I got this shirt for $2.
Yeah,
Like, great.
but other than
I can't dig through stuff. Like, I just want to walk in. I need a smaller selection to pull from. Maybe I buy something that day, maybe I don't. But it just helps and pair things together. Tell me what matches, what goes well, and is comfortable. I'm past the days of wanting scratchy clothes that don't feel good. And I'm a mama. I've got kids pulling on me. And so like I need things that cover but feel good and still look cute and fun. And can this dress go from a council meeting to a picnic? I need to be able to do all the things.
Well, that's like Gayla at Southern Gym. I'm just giving my sponsor shout out. She has people that come hour away or more to come at her place because she's known for her expertise in jewelry and personalized service. And then Robin tells me, I saw so-and-so today or this person today. And, because they'll come in and, shopping for jewelry, getting something repaired. And it's somebody we know from school or from church or for when our kids played soccer or whatever. And, so Gayla gets business because of that kind of hometown connection. And so, and I was thinking about doing a show just, taking my little phone and just 30 seconds. I don't know if I'd walk in, peek chandelier, and say, "Hey, I want to tape you for 30 seconds," and call the cops. But,
no.
Well, but I thought about doing so. And I tell you, the person to talk to is Mary Slaney. Apparently, she knows everybody and everything.
Biggest cheerleader of Burleson.
Right.
She's another one. She and I cross paths a lot on the weekends of, this last weekend, several of our boutiques had things for Mother's Day. I didn't get to shop as much as I wanted because I was on mom duty, but
it
happens sometimes. Sometimes my kids block me from spending money. I'm like, I really want to go to the store today. They're having a sale or they're doing a promo for moms. Come have a glass of wine while you peruse. And by the way, there's also somebody doing chair massages and all of this stuff that a big store can't do. They can they have all these partnership opportunities and they take advantage of connecting and saying, I know that there's I've heard this because I shop local so much. Like I'll be in Extremely Refined and she's like, "Oh, you're looking for a white dress? Let me get on the text group of all the other boutiques and say, do y'all have something that fits this so I can send her your way?" That's how we thrive. That's how we help each other out. It's not always about they absolutely have to get something from my store, but knowing that I helped them, they're going to come back. You build loyalty and you build connections and help each other out, and we all thrive. We all benefit as a community.
Well, I'm having an idea about what I could do for a show on those lines. I have to kind of think it through a little bit, but I've been wanting to do that because, that's the kind of shows I like to do. I mean, I've had a belly full of the political shows for a while. So
we got a year.
So I'm gonna concentrate on positive things for a little while and not get in the hair pulling.
Let's talk about all the cool stuff that's going on here. We get so distracted by the bleh and the negativity, but there's cool stuff going on in our town, and we should be tooting our horn and shouting from the rooftops about how well we do the things that we do.
Well, I want to ask you one last question. You probably have connections with other...
how's our time already up? This happens every time.
I know. I'm sure you talk to other city council members of other cities. It seems to me Burleson has more per capita of these nonprofits and people that work for them and for the benefit of the community and for their old town and all this. Do other towns have this kind of support?
Yes. Yeah, there are a lot of cool organizations.
Burleson seems to have a lot of people involved.
We're very fortunate
in making this a better community.
I think we are very fortunate to have what we have. I'm not going to say every community has as much as we have, but there are definitely groups that, want to focus on veterans, want to focus on women and children. And, but we have a great community doing a lot of cool things. And at every turn, we're trying to help each other. And it's not a handout, it's a hand up. How can we get you to better yourself in the workforce, give you job training? There's lots of opportunities that people in our town are really carrying the torch on. And so you have plenty of opportunities for shows, right? But can I do a couple of plugs for some things we have coming up? On the 23rd, we are having the ribbon cutting for the improvements out at the Memorial Cemetery. So to piggyback on the later that week, they'll be putting out flags for veterans. But on the 23rd at 5:30, we're going to cut the ribbon for those new improvements. And then on the 24th, we have installed a AstroTurf on the Arabian field out at Chisenhall Fields. So it's going to be our first field out there that it's basically like a trial. Like it has AstroTurf, and so the drainage has been improved, and so maybe we can get more play. And if this goes over really well and the community is really happy with it, maybe we can extend it to more fields out at Chisenhall, because we have to cancel a lot of games due to rain because it just becomes a mud pit out there, and the fields get torn up if we let people play on them. So I've heard from so many parents that are really thrilled about that. So the 24th at 5:30, Arabian field ribbon cutting for AstroTurf. And then later that evening, Elk Ridge Park ribbon cutting. So, we've really made an effort in the last 2 years to update parks that have been well overdue. We recently cut the ribbon for Claudia's Playground. It's bigger, it's better, it's so cool, so many neat things to do out there. And I pass by it at least 3 times a week, and it's packed every evening after school. And so Elk Ridge will equally be done well and right, and I'm excited to cut that ribbon with the community. So come out on the 24th and do that with us.
Well, lots going on.
Lots of cool things.
We're going to be doing this on a fairly regular basis, by the way, avid listening group, here, my vast listening audience. We're going to be talking with Victoria on a monthly basis, because I find these conversations very interesting, and because, what's going on in the community, both in the business world and in the political aspect, the governing aspect is a better word, and all that. So I really enjoy these conversations.
Me too.
So we're going to do this on a regular basis.
Well,
I appreciate it.
So be thrilled to come see you regularly.
Okay. Third Thursday of the month is always
except next month.
Well, really, you're going to be gone?
No, I think you and I talked about the 20th.
Okay, the 20th. Okay. Yes. I'll get it together.
Because it would butt up against my COG meeting, and those are important.
Okay. All righty. Well, we'll see.
We'll make sure and publicize big time when I'm back. But thank you, Mr. Allard, always for your time.
No problem. Tomorrow we have Reach across Johnson County with Erica Byers and probably a couple of her associates. And they're going to talk about their mental health services. And then Thursday, I have, like I mentioned before, Lisa Smith. They've been talking about mold remediation, which may not sound like a thrilling thing, but you may need it. And so it's a good thing to tune into. So we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Thank you.